Hello, and welcome back to the Coding Universe, your one-stop destination to unravel the mysteries of programming. In our journey through the digital cosmos, we've encountered many fascinating topics, from the basics of Python to the complexities of machine learning. Today we're taking a slight detour to explore a different but equally captivating topic, the awe-inspiring world of U.S. aircraft carriers. With a legacy dating back to the birth of the world's first supercarrier, the USS Forrestal, U.S. aircraft carriers have been at the forefront of nearly every military skirmish since the 1990s. However, not once has a U.S. aircraft carrier been the target of an adversary's attack. This immunity isn't just due to the supercarrier's impenetrable defenses. Rather, it's the awe-inspiring presence of these gargantuan ships that truly grants them invincibility. Ever since the 1950s, these supercarriers have been the proud symbols of U.S. military might and naval superiority. The last U.S. Navy aircraft carrier to be sunk was during the devastating World War II, with the USS Bismarck C being the final casualty in February 1945. Fast forward to the present, and despite their intimidating size, U.S. aircraft carriers are vulnerable to modern precision anti-ship weaponry. Yet, the question remains, why is it that no nation has dared to challenge the U.S. aircraft carrier's dominance? What has the U.S. done to instill such profound fear globally? Military pundits list the carrier's speed and maneuverability as top reasons. The Nimitz-class, Ford-class, and Gerald R. Ford-class supercarriers are prime examples of naval marvels crafted by the U.S. Their colossal size, impenetrable steel hulls, and powerful nuclear reactors, these supercarriers are incredibly difficult to damage. Their agility, despite their size, is equally impressive. These titanic warships can accelerate to a top speed of 30 knots, making them a tricky target for slower submarines. If detected by an enemy, the operational radius of these carriers can expand to a staggering 700 square miles within 30 minutes, extending further to 6,000 square miles in just over an hour. Adding to these defenses is the second layer of protection, the Formidable Carrier Strike Group, or CSG. A CSG is a naval powerhouse with the aircraft carrier at its heart, coordinating and commanding combat operations. The typical CSG boasts an impressive lineup that includes missile cruisers, destroyers, nuclear-powered submarines, and supply vessels. With these defenses, it's clear why no adversary dares to challenge the might of the U.S. aircraft carrier. At the heart of a carrier strike group, or CSG for short, sits the aircraft carrier. These mammoth vessels carry on board fighter aircraft, electronic warfare planes, early warning aircraft, and helicopters. They're the proverbial conductor of the orchestral ensemble that is the CSG, coordinating and directing all group activities. The FA-18EF Super Hornet, the primary combat aircraft, is like the lead violinist, striking against the adversary's inland targets. This aircraft also safeguards the carrier and the entire strike group by intercepting threats from a distance. In this symphony of defense, the Ticonderoga-class cruisers act as an impenetrable wall of sound. They're responsible for air defense, anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface warfare, and countering enemy surface ships, submarines, and aircraft. At the core of these cruisers, we find the Aegis Combat System. This state-of-the-art system is the world's most advanced missile and space defense system, a virtuoso capable of defeating any airborne threat, including ballistic missiles. Adding depth to this harmonious ensemble are the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, taking up the air defense, anti-submarine warfare, and anti-surface warfare roles. These destroyers, equipped with the most advanced weaponry of the U.S. Navy, neutralize threats to the strike group in a smooth, coordinated performance. Adding mystery and suspense to this complex composition are the Los Angeles or Virginia-class nuclear-powered attack submarines. They take on the roles of underwater reconnaissance and defense, often operating ahead of the group to scout and provide early warnings. And let's not forget the unsung heroes, the support vessels. They replenish the aviation fuel for the carrier's aircraft and diesel fuel for the escort vessels, following at the end of the formation. The frequency of movement at sea, the constant shift in location, makes it difficult for potential threats to detect and track the aircraft carrier. And modern advanced technologies further fortify this naval symphony. Washington has invested heavily in defense and offensive technologies, integrating all modern technologies to achieve maximum effectiveness in sensor systems and weaponry. The result is a defense line that makes U.S. aircraft carriers less vulnerable. They're a representation of power and protection, assets that not many countries can genuinely pose a significant threat to. The unlimited operational range and flexibility provided by nuclear propulsion allow these aircraft carriers to help the United States protect its interests worldwide, a testament to the enduring strength of the U.S. naval strategy. At present, the United States is making significant strides in modern military technology. As such, the capacity of any adversary to sink these maritime fortresses of the USA without nuclear force is virtually non-existent. So, what would transpire if a nation were audacious enough to initiate a comprehensive attack on a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier fleet in a confrontation? What would be the reaction of the United States, and what measures might it take? It's safe to say that this could lead to considerable tension and could potentially spiral into a Third World War. An unexpected assault by a heavily armed entity might indeed be successful, but it could have profound impacts on U.S. diplomacy and public sentiment, potentially triggering intense retaliatory responses. The most extreme scenario could involve an assault by an independent group, resulting in massive human loss and the obliteration of a U.S. vessel, sparking intense national outrage in America. However, even the most formidable aircraft carrier is susceptible to attack. Since the Second World War, most global conflicts have been of lesser scale, and targeting an aircraft carrier has invariably proven unwise. Superpowers like Russia and China have developed formidable anti-aircraft carrier missiles, but they haven't been deployed against U.S. carriers. Any attack on a carrier not only shifts the military landscape but also carries significant political ramifications. Furthermore, no one can predict how many missiles would be required to sink a U.S. aircraft carrier. It could potentially take just one, but the reality is far more complex. It's no easy task to sink a 300-meter steel behemoth. The U.S. Navy has run tests to confirm this. In 2005, they trained their sights on the USS America to evaluate its survivability against potential sinking. It withstood relentless surface and underwater assaults for nearly a month, with only the stern being sunk. The remainder was only destroyed when the Pentagon made the call to scuttle it permanently. It's clear that U.S. aircraft carriers are engineered to maintain buoyancy even when heavily damaged in combat. So, what are the odds that a missile we launch could bring down an aircraft carrier? It's arguably more challenging than striking it lucky in the lottery. And when you choose to sink an aircraft carrier, the repercussions must be taken into account. Consider the nuclear-powered USS Nimitz, which operates with a crew of 6,000. It represents a mobile asset for the U.S. at sea. A single hit could result in a casualty count in mere minutes higher than the entirety of the Iraq War. A chilling statistic. When a warship goes down, nearly all on board are lost. Case in point, when the British warship HMS Hood was sunk by Nazi Germany in 1941, 1,415 of the 1,418 crew perished. Only 3 survived. This is a stark reminder that any nation contemplating an assault on a U.S. aircraft carrier must think twice. In a crisis, Washington has the capacity to mobilize 10 aircraft carriers from various locations to the conflict zone. Hence, sinking a U.S. carrier would only diminish the fleet's strength by approximately 10%. As per military analysts, sinking an aircraft carrier is the quickest route from a minor spat to full-blown warfare. Few nations today can stand toe-to-toe with the U.S. in such a conflict. To summarize, attacking a U.S. aircraft carrier is more than a tactical error. It's a strategic decision that exceeds the authority of the ship's command. Any adversary that embarks on such an attack would do well to consider the repercussions. The U.S. response to the horrific terror attacks of September 2001 is a telling sign that they would undoubtedly retaliate with their full remaining military might, including the 8 or 9 surviving aircraft carriers. There are 2 questions for anyone envisioning the defeat of one of these steel titans. Do you have what it takes? And even if you do, is it worth the price you'll pay? If you can answer these questions, then we've cracked the code in today's video.